At the end of May, I took a train from Gothenburg, Sweden down to Zurich, Switzerland to attend a conference, the European Forum for Christian LGBT Groups. We were about 140 people from different Christian denominations from all over Europe and some from outside of Europe as well, as you will see in the video. During the conference, I had the opportunity to sit down with 11 different people to hear a little bit about their lives as queer Christians, about their activism they're doing at home, why they were attending the conference. And in this video, you're going to hear a little bit about what they had to say. Let's start with a few words from the hosting team from Zurich.
My name is Iréne Schwyn. I'm one member of the preparation team for this European Forum conference here in Zurich. I'm a member of the Reformed Church. I'm actually an ordained minister within that church. I work as a parish minister and I identify as cisgender lesbian. When we tried to figure out when and how to make this conference, we got in touch with the Roman Catholic Church and they were very keen on having this conference. And the Roman Catholic Church of Zurich supports us in a very generous way financially and offered us the use of this venue for free. That was just an amazing gift.
Eva was also a part of the preparation team, and this is how she feels about welcoming us to Zurich.
It's amazing. It's just my second conference at all, but I mean, it's great to have you here in Zurich and all those people from all those countries all over Europe. Yeah, it's really, really amazing. And I mean, we've been working for this conference for 2 years and I'm really, really excited that it finally started.
This year, the Forum actually celebrated its 40th birthday. So I thought it would be fitting to start with diving into some history of the Forum.
I'm Hilde from Oslo, Norway. My first Forum was in 1992 here in Zurich, and I found it a very, very scary experience. I only said 3 words, and that was, "My name is Hilde." But what was really important was that this was the first time that the women had asked for time just for the women on a Saturday afternoon. We talked a lot about how important it was that also the women found their voice and used it in the Forum context, because it was primarily a gay male place with a few women thrown in, but very quietly. So we talked about and discussed how can we do this, and one thing we said was it's really important to have women's only space. I discovered in the evening for the Saturday night party that it wasn't just our voices that needed to be raised, it was also we needed to claim other spaces. There was going to be a big dance in the evening, and I am not a very good dancer, so I was a bit nervous. So I walked into the room and stopped at the door, and all I saw was this sea of gay male couples waltzing. And I was like, am I in the wrong place? Because they really took up the whole room. But then I saw in the far corner, there was the little huddling of lesbians and other women standing there and trying to sneak out on the dance floor. So that's when I decided we also need to claim the dance floor. And that discussion continued. And then in 1996 at the Forum in Oslo, we had the first women's pre-conference that went from Wednesday evening till the Forum started. And it was really exciting. Of course, we had our own dance floor, but we also had the worship service. And during that Forum, it was also proposed by the women that it was important to have equal representation at the Forum, both at the board and also the delegates, because it was discovered that although there were women there, very few of them were delegates. The pre-conferences continued as a tradition then in the Forum for each year after that. Then some of the women started saying we should not just lift our voices, we should tell our stories. And in Warsaw in 2001, the women really said, yeah, let's just do it, let's create a book. We started to collect stories, and especially Randi Solberg from Open Church Group in Norway, who was also on the board, did the editing and the collecting and did a huge work to create this book called Let Our Voices Be Heard. Christian lesbians across Europe tell their stories. I think it's 95 women from 20-something countries. I think the pre-conferences have been extremely important for giving women confidence to speak out and participate more actively in the forum. But it's also been a place and a time for celebration and affirming ourselves as women, whether there's trans women or, of course in the beginning it was mostly lesbians, but we are realizing that that is also a bit narrow and we need to be a bit wider. But I think it's created a community and a sisterhood that kind of upholds us and make us feel that we belong together.
Like we heard Hilde say, the women started their own pre-conference because they were a marginalized group within the forum. Then the men also started their own pre-conference because they just wanted to hang out a little bit more. Nowadays, the forum is full of both lesbian women and gay men, but there are now other groups that take part in the forum that feel the need to make their voices heard. We're now going to hear a few words from Henning, who was one of the people behind a third pre-conference this year.
I'm Henning from Berlin, Germany. I'm 40 years old. I consider myself cis male, but that's a question. I live in a long-term gay relationship, but I consider myself more pansexual. So the relationship is an open one. I'm here on the forum is Queerobim, which is a queer church choir. When we were thinking what the topic for the pre-conference could be, someone came up with the notion that the forum has become quite normal in a way. People in many countries can have a registered partnership or they can marry. It seems that for many this has become normal and for some it is enough. But we had the feeling that there was something missing out. So we set up the topic, which is named Deviate, to show that there are more ideas to live and to experiment and to bring some fresh air into the forum. And my part was, I thought, to bring in some discussion about kink and fetishes and a little bit about masochism, because that's a topic that I'm really interested in. The question in the beginning was, what's the connection between, for example, kinks or masochism and spirituality? And I think those two are not necessarily too far away. Because if you think, for example, during Lent, when people do their feasting, you know, you abstain from something, there's maybe a little bit of suffering involved, maybe for the body or for the mind. Or if you, for example, think of Catholic church services, if you fall on your knees for the 20th time, they start to hurt. But somehow you still do it with some bliss. So the connection between masochism, joy and pain is definitely there.
During the conference, there were many workshop slots where you could attend different workshops, and I attended one with Benjamin.
My name is Benjamin Hermann. I'm 24 years old. I work for the Reformed Church here in Zurich for the LGBT parishhood, and I study theology in Zurich to become a pastor someday. And also I'm a transgender man. A lot of workshops tend to be in your head, and I wanted the workshop to be more in your fingers and to trigger creativity, to say so. So I decided that we do a Lenten veil or a patchwork of diversity, where everybody could create a patch that showcased something that brought life to them or made them happy or kind of like got them energy and helps them to go through life as a queer Christian person. After we created that, I will put them all back together into one big patchwork, and I'm hopeful that it's going to be really diverse and colorful and just like life is chaotic.
If you think that Benjamin seems like a very cool person, you are correct. He mentioned a lot more during his interview, and I'm going to release that as a separate video, so stay tuned for that. But what made the conference so amazing wasn't the workshops or the masses or the annual general meeting. It was the people that I got to meet and the stories I heard from them.
I'm small, I come from Hong Kong. I'm an intersex person. When I'm born, my genitals is not same as the normal people. Not look like a man or not look like a woman. So the doctor is not easy to diagnose what I am. When I was a child, I experienced so much genital surgeries. They try to modify my genital back to the normal because they seem this is an illness baby. So they bring me to the hospital and the doctor say, okay, we can fix it. And then I experienced so many genital surgeries without consent. No one asked me, do I want to do the surgeries or not? And no one asked me, if you need to do the surgeries, you want to be a boy or girl? No one asked me. I think church is sending love, is protecting the minority. The leader of church need to take care if some of their members is the intersex people, or some of the parents, they got the intersex children in the church. In my experience, in the past 10 years, I visited so many church and the leaders, they mostly think about intersex status is about the sin. So we are the result of the sin. So they mostly subject the parents to bring their baby to the surgeries to, to ask forgive from the God. So I will say this is totally wrong. We have been saved from the blood of Jesus. We don't need to do anything again. So I hope to lobby the church to take up the responsibility to take care the intersex children, the intersex people and the family, and don't make a wrong message to them.
If you want to hear more from Small and her story, this will also be uploaded as a separate video. But now let's move from Hong Kong to California to meet Will and Adam.
My name is Will. I am originally from Brazil but migrated to California where I live with Adam, and we build technology for LGBTQ Christians. And the way that I got started was I had a passion since college, and Adam has a dating app for LGBTQ Christians back in the US. And we met on that dating app, and I always had an interest for technology, so immediately we connected and our relationship started.
My name is Adam Evers, pronouns are he, him. I live in California, Oakland, California. My background is I've been in the Southern Baptist Convention for a very long time, and then I was actually excommunicated from them, and then I'm now in a non-denominational church. Like Will mentioned, we met on Believer, which is an LGBTQ plus Christian community and dating app based in the United States. We also started a nonprofit called New Foundation. So New Foundation is a progressive Christian space where we bring in events and communities and kind of have a unified platform to be able to find any progressive spaces that are inclusive of LGBTQ Christians, hopefully across the world, but right now it's in the US and Canada.
So New Foundations, it was created because there is no map in the United States of where affirming churches can be found. So you can go on Google Maps and search for a church, but nothing in that profile tells you if they're LGBT friendly or not. So what New Foundations try to do is to create an umbrella for different products. And one of those products is this map. And it allows both churches to submit their church to this map so that other people can find it. We have a list of 1,800 churches in there, both in California, Canada, United Kingdom, and Australia, that you can just go on this website, type the name of your city, and then immediately see churches that are going to be safe spaces for queer people.
And so the hope and desire is to also do that in the EU. And so having churches apply, we vet them, make sure that they're actually telling the truth and that they are. Hopefully, potentially even using some of the Rice Index questions and the Rice Index in general to be able to do that in congregation with the EU Forum.
Another interesting person I met was Deo.
My name is Amadeo. You can call me Deo. I'm from Jakarta, Indonesia. And I work as the coordinator of the Center for Gender, Sexuality and Trauma Studies at Jakarta Theological Seminary. So it is actually the seminary where I studied. I graduated in 2019 But after that, I was asked to coordinate their research center that was established in 2018. But actually our programs that are related to LGBTIQ inclusion and our programs related to educating the churches and also other religious communities on LGBTIQ issues dated back to, I think, the year 1992. And since that on, our seminary has always been at the forefront of defending the SOGSC people, or people with diverse genders and sexualities. That is the term that we're much more comfortable with because we talk about diversity, and also that should includes or takes into account the experiences, the queer experiences of the ethnic groups in Indonesia. Because in Indonesia, we have ethnic groups that actually have queer betokens, traces, queer identities, like for example the Bugis ethnic group in Sulawesi, one of our islands in Indonesia. They acknowledge 5 different genders. They are not aware actually of what LGBTIQ is all about, what SOGSC is all about, and yet they have their own understanding of gender and sexuality, which also happens to be very diverse. So this is, I think, a strong message also to the people or the religious communities who externalize LGBTIQ people based on the assumption that it is something that comes from the West.
Deo also mentioned a lot more about his work during the interview, and I will upload that too as a separate video. If you feel as moved as I do from hearing these stories from diverse queer Christians, then maybe the Priceless podcast would be something for you.
My name is Mihael Secen and I'm from Croatia. And I am, since 3 years ago, a podcaster. And I do podcasts about LGBTIQ plus people that are connected to faith. And I'm also connected to the European Forum. And I started to produce these podcasts during COVID. Actually, before COVID, I started to do it just in Croatian. But then I saw there are so many podcasts about LGBT plus and faith topics that are made in the USA, but not many within Europe. And also people helped me to start this podcast with some donations so that I could buy some equipment to start doing them. And they first started in Croatian, as I said, but they also told me it's such a pity that we don't understand it. And during COVID, I was thinking like, oh, what could I do? And it was really hard getting people in Croatia to talk about their stories because they're also still very afraid, especially people within the churches. And I came to the idea, why don't I do a European podcast? There is such a bigger pool of people that I can ask and that are out in churches. There are different experiences, much more diversity. So let's do a European podcast. I really want this podcast to be used by people, that they can maybe use within their organizations, that they can refer people to, if you want to hear stories from other LGBT people across Europe, there is a resource, you can use it. Or let's have an evening and watch an interview about, intersex people, about polyamory, about trans people, about, really different topics. So I'm still not there. Of course, they're not all topics are covered. And of course, every story is unique. So I hope that with time, there will be an even more diverse group of people and stories that will be available online.
To finish up, we're going to hear from Arman, who is going to tell us a little bit about next year's conference.
My name is Arman. I'm from Armenia, and I'm an LGBT and HIV activist in my country. I'm representing an organization that is named New Generation, and we are dealing with human rights of LGBTI people and public health care. Since 2017, I started participating in the Eastern Europe and Central Asia LGBT Christian Groups Forum, and then I became a member of the organizing committee for organizing the forum in different countries afterwards. In 2018, to my suggestion, the forum was to be held in Armenia. The decision was made and we were going and planning to have the forum in Armenia, in Yerevan, the capital city. But unfortunately, the information was leaked from the Russian media, and our local media started speaking up and made a huge hysteria about the LGBT Christians forum that was going to take place in our country. The media and the people started writing that the forum was about to change the Bible. It was also mentioning that we were going to destroy the Armenian traditional families and values, which we felt that was going to be hard to handle. But still we wanted to do it, and we were going forward and having participants on the board who were almost about to come to our country. And suddenly we faced a challenge because a huge demonstration started in the streets against us, against the forum. And people were just going to the streets and demanding the government to ban the forum in Armenia, explaining that this was a danger to young people and young families. We also faced threats and physical violence during those days. We go to the police and we ask them for protection. Police answer was that they were not able to protect us. We asked for protection just for 40 people and they refused us, while people walking in the streets against us were more than 500, and the police were working with them, protecting them. And finally, with the European Forum, our organization decided to cancel the forum in Armenia because it was a real danger already not only to us, but also to those who were coming to our country. After that, we came to an agreement with the European Forum that the next forum is going to happen in Venlo, Netherlands, and it is going to be combined forum for the European Forum and the Eastern Europe and Central Asia Forum. So people can come together, people can come and share common problems and common joys, and also find common solutions of the problems. So this is kind of making bridges between the East and the West, and we really expect that this forum is going to be something very unique in its format and to join people together.